Video games with weird marketing crossovers. And we're not trying to focus in on things like Game Fuel partnering up with Halo. We're talking about the flip side of that, when Monster Energy shows up in Death Stranding. Or do you remember the Sidekick, that phone from the mid-2000s? That was honestly actually really cool. As a kid, I really wanted that. I mean, this was before the era of smartphones, but I mean, look at that. All I had was this Nokia brick that had a green screen on it, and it couldn't even take pictures. The Sidekick was everything. And it played a pretty big role in the Skate trilogy of games. You had a cool little phone, and it was like your marker session. If you wanted to like respawn or something, you could use that. Man, T-Mobile really like plastered themselves all over this game, didn't they? Honestly, this topic alone runs pretty deep. There are some crazy things that have popped up in games over the years where game publishers are like, hey, let's make some more money. Who cares if we, sell out a little bit? And you know what? Sometimes there are a few examples of things being kind of cool. Random, but cool. Other times you just look at the advertisement in your game and you're like, why did they do this? But first, we actually have a sponsor. You ever get to a checkout page, stare at the enter promo code box and think, yeah, I'm not hunting for codes for 20 minutes again? That's exactly why we started using Coopert. It's actually kind of wild how much money we've saved. Coopert is a free browser extension that automatically finds the best coupon codes and applies them for you. Like here, we're at checkout, click the Coopert button, and boom, it tests a bunch of codes in seconds. Look at that. It also gives you cash back at over 76,000 stores, places like Walmart, Sephora, and Temu. That's cool. And our favorite feature, price comparisons. It literally shows you cheaper prices from other retailers while you're shopping. It's basically a personal savings assistant for you that runs in the background. Coopert supports Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, and it even works on mobile Safari. There's no catch, no weird sign-up fees. You just install, register, and start saving. And yeah, you can cash out your rewards via PayPal, gift cards, or even your bank directly. So don't overpay in 2025. Click the link in the description to download Coopert for free and start saving today. Why hunt coupons when Coopert can do it for you? I remember being really excited playing Alan Wake for the first time when it released in 2010. I was a freshman in high school. It came out at a good time right after like Halo 3 ODST and Modern Warfare 2 had been out for a little while. And I was just looking for like a cinematic story experience, and Alan Wake was awesome. Now, if you've never played the Alan Wake games, one thing you need to know is that the way that you fight enemies in the game is pretty unique. You have to use a flashlight to kind of like break their shields before you can shoot them. And the flashlight and light in general is like a huge part of the mechanics of the game, keeping yourself safe, keeping yourself alive, and keeping yourself going. However, the flashlights in this game die so quickly, which is also a part of the mechanic because you have to like choose how much power you want to use when you're shining your flashlight. But to coincide with that, the game Alan Wake, which was published by Microsoft at the time, did a tie-in with Energizer batteries. So all of the batteries you found in Alan Wake were Energizer brand, which, I don't know, maybe from Energizer's perspective, they're like, this is great, this is brand awareness. Me personally, I'm sitting here thinking, man, these batteries must just suck. I mean, I'm constantly going through them. It's like back in the Xbox 360 days, if you bought Dollar Tree batteries, your controller would die like after a couple of hours, but if you bought like a Duracell, it would last. I didn't really have an opinion on Energizer, but Alan Wake didn't necessarily make me want to buy them. I don't know, I just find this one funny, if anything, but at the same time, when Alan Wake would get remastered later on, Energizer would not renew the partnership, so the batteries were replaced with generic batteries, not the cool Energizer crossover ones. I think it adds an interesting dynamic when brands don't continue the partnership, or the partnership was like a limited deal for the time that it was releasing. Crazy Taxi for the Sega Dreamcast is another great example of this happening exactly. Crazy Taxi had a ton of real-world restaurant locations and businesses scattered throughout, which kind of, in a way, while, it's weird to see these like promotions in games, made the Crazy Taxi world feel more alive and realistic, because you're like, oh, I know that company. Especially in like an era like the Dreamcast, where details aren't as great as they are now in 2025. So Crazy Taxi originally had a Pizza Hut, a KFC, a Levi's, Tower Records, and Fila, F-I-L-A. I've never known how to pronounce this brand, but these were like licensing deals, and they definitely weren't renewed whenever the game would see subsequent releases on like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PC, mobile platforms even. These all ended up getting rebranded to just generic things like Pizza Parlor, Fried Chicken Shack. It's not as neat. Fortunately, there are fan mods out there that restore the original experiences, making it feel a little more authentic. But it is interesting to see, how these types of crossover deals might have lasting effects if the licensing agreement doesn't allow for continued use for re-releases of the game down the road. I mean, there's a lot of wild examples. I mean, for some reason, video games have tested out trying to let people order pizza through their game multiple different times over the years. I always have found that interesting. Everquest 2 had the /pizza command for a while, where it would just take you to the Pizza Hut website and you could order pizza, I guess. I remember Xbox tested that out to see if people could order pizza through the Xbox 360 dashboard. I don't know if it was worth it. Over in Japan, there was a dedicated Nintendo Wii app called Daimei Channel. It was like a food delivery channel, and you could order different types of food, including pizza, but other things in Japan. And it was available from 2009 through 2017. Also, a little bit of a goofier one, but Splinter Cell with Ubisoft did a partnership with Sony. And you would think, oh, they're doing something, for the PlayStation or something. What's going on here? No. This was completely unrelated. This was a crossover with Sony for the Sony Ericsson phone. They wanted the phone in the game, so Ubisoft announced the partnership that would make the game more realistic, apparently. So you'll notice that Sam Fisher's rocking this early 2000s phone, because why not? Now, I know we talked a little bit about Skate, and honestly, some of the crossovers in a sports game like Skate or Madden or something like that, it's fine if it's like a brand that is often associated with the sport. Like, it can make sense, it can add a sense of realism, and it can be a win-win. But sometimes things just feel a little out there. For instance, Tony Hawk, the other skateboarding series, has a long track record of doing interesting in-game promotions with real-world companies. I mean, if we go all the way back to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X, there was Taco Bell advertisements. Tony Hawk's Underground had McDonald's locations you could go to, and Butterfingers within the game world. I mean, is it surprising to see Vans or Quicksilver or DC Shoes show up in a skateboarding game? Not really. You just don't expect to see like a billboard for McDonald's in a skateboarding game. I don't know. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Actually, similarly, now that I think about it, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 did in-game promotions to kind of tease at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 getting the remake that it's getting later this year. It might already be out depending on when you're watching this video. And it's kind of funny because we could sit here and complain about billboards and other types of like brand tie-ins to make the world feel realistic while also, making money for the publisher, I guess. But at the same time, there are instances of things that are way, way, way worse, like NBA 2K21. That was some wild stuff going on there. They did this whole like 2K TV mode, and it would like play some stuff in the game, and they just had straight up unskippable ads implemented into the game, like for the Oculus Quest by Facebook. I mean, this is one thing to have an advertisement. We're used to seeing ads on YouTube and other sites, especially if the platform itself starts out as free. Getting an ad isn't that surprising, but when it's like a full-priced retail game and then you get ads served on top of that, oof, I don't know. They were doing that. Apparently there was some movie advertisements too, trying to get people to go out to the theaters and watch movies, I guess. I don't know. Apparently, after the backlash, 2K was like, the advertisement was intended for the game, but it wasn't supposed to be implemented in the way that it was or something. They tried to dance around it. I don't know if that makes it any better. It's not like they decided moving forward they're going to cut back on advertisements, because literally in the next game, they had a whole interaction with Jake from State Farm. He was in the game. You could chat with him. You would hang out. They had a State Farm office. I mean, there was other brand crossovers in NBA 2K, but the Jake from State Farm one definitely was like the cream of the crop. Also, Tony Hawk Ride had a crossover for Stride Gum. We tried to find evidence of this because I didn't want to have to buy Tony Hawk Ride. Actually, yeah, I'm not going to buy Tony Hawk Ride. I would cut this line before I would force myself to play it for a very small part of a section. Though I'm not totally against buying it. Maybe it's a fun game. It's not. The controls aren't good. What I'm trying to get at is while we were looking for Stride Gum, I came across this cutscene that shows like the tutorials, and looky here, T-Mobile Sidekick. They were hitting this at all angles. They were doing crossovers with Skate. They were doing crossovers with Tony Hawk's Ride. They didn't have allegiance to the better skateboarding game in their opinion. They just wanted skateboarders or people who liked video games to buy the T-Mobile Sidekick. Also, as much as I love Skate 3, there were some interesting things that happened here as well. I mean, there was like Monster Energy. They did some branding stuff. Miracle Whip threw their hat in the ring. There's an entire trick named after Miracle Whip. It's actually one of the hardest tricks to be able to do. It's like a cool flip trick. I mean, side tangent, Skate 3 really made flip tricks a lot more like restricted than what it was in Skate 2. So getting a Miracle Whip to land was kind of cool, but also there was some Miracle Whip challenges that happened. I don't know why. Okay, the next one's not technically in game, and there's going to be a couple of examples in this video where we talk about just crossovers that weren't in the video game, but still crossovers nonetheless. yes. And this next one is so wild that there was no way I wasn't going to talk about it. Let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog and Hooters. Okay, so back when Sonic Forces was releasing in Japan specifically in October of 2016, for whatever reason, Hooters and Sonic Forces did a crossover where you could get a special drink and chili dog item inspired by Sonic Forces. You know, this one isn't that weird on the surface. You're like, okay, like they have a Sonic themed drink and meal or whatever at the restaurant, but the fact that they did like this little like promotional photo shoot type thing to like hype up the existence, it's just one of the more wild crossovers. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog's in a lot of things. Sure. Did I expect Sonic the Hedgehog to show up in Hooters Japan? Probably not. Fight Night Round 3 by EA was an insane crossover with Burger King. I mean, you can have the Burger King logo in the boxing ring. You could see Burger King logos in the background, but in some cases, you could have the Burger King himself kind of as your coach. And this is just really, really cursed. I don't even know how to explain what I'm looking at. Burger King definitely must have spent a lot of money to do this crossover because they did not let up at all on the Burger King related tie-ins. I hope Burger King got their money's worth because they must have spent a lot of money to have this game just honestly seem to have more Burger King references than those Burger King games themselves. I don't know. EA tried some shit with UFC 4 for a little while. This one was weird. In between your matches, like when you're fighting, it would do the instant replay and then it would just roll a quick little commercial break. Like for instance, in this clip, it's advertising for Amazon's The Boys. EA was like, we planned on doing ad integration. We just didn't know or mean for it to influence or interfere with the actual game. They even went on to say, quote, it is abundantly clear from your feedback that integrating ads into the replay and overlay experience is not welcome. We apologize for any disruption or gameplay that players may have experienced. EA, what did you expect? I mean, they didn't care. They tried to make money. They hoped nobody would notice. When the backlash got too big, they pulled the plug on it. It is interesting though. This also was implemented a month after the game released. So, you know, reviewers, of course, wouldn't have a chance. Super slimy behavior. Pretty cringe. I don't know. It's really annoying, especially in a full-priced $60 game at the time to do this. To be fair, I've started to play UFC 5 a little bit and I haven't noticed any Amazon original ads playing in the middle of my fights. So I guess they truly did get rid of it. What a huge victory.
In 2013, SimCity 2013 released, and while I personally found the game pretty disappointing, I guess there was a car company that was betting on the game to be a big success, and that company was Nissan. They released a free DLC in partnership with EA called the Nissan Leaf Charging Station DLC. This would add a building called the Nissan Leaf Charging Station to your city, and you were able to put it down, and then the Sims were able to get a Nissan Leaf and drive around with a electric car, or with specifically the Nissan Leaf. Building this charging station would increase the happiness of your citizens, and they would begin driving the Nissan Leaf all around. It also would make your air pollution levels go down. I mean, this was okay for a free DLC. I mean, it's just one building. It's not really that exciting, and you will get to see a lot of Nissan Leafs in your city, which I think personally is a hideous looking car. And I do kind of wonder if anyone ever actually bought a Nissan Leaf because of the SimCity crossover. If you did, I mean, you know, tell us all about it in the comments down below.
Now, earlier in the video, we talked a little bit about the Monster Energy and Death Stranding debacle. I mean, Monster Energy is literally everywhere in this game. It's almost comedic how many times the Monster Energy cans will show up. Just really heavy product placement across the board. Apparently, a lot of Hideo Kojima's games have product placement just everywhere. Metal Gear Solid 3 apparently had Calorie Mate. Metal Gear Solid 4 had an iPod. Metal Gear Peace Walker had Doritos, Mountain Dew, and Axe deodorant. Thanks Tom Biscuit-esque on Reddit for sharing that information because I wouldn't have known even where to look to find this out. Now, it's also speculated though that Hideo Kojima, his games cost a lot of money, and because his games cost a lot of money and he doesn't want to sacrifice his creative goals and ambitions for the game, he takes on product placement so that they have more money to work with. Take that for what you will. At the same time though, I do want to point out that in the director's cut of Death Stranding though, the Monster Energies were not there, which kind of doubles down that this wasn't just like a, hey, let's hide Monster Energy because we like it in the game. More, you are contractually obligated to put Monster Energy all over this game. Please do it, at least for the initial release. Later releases don't need it. I'll be honest though, if I'm playing the game, even the director's cut, I want the Monster Energy there. I want to experience the weird product placement in the best and worst ways possible. I don't know. I mean, they've been doing this in games for a really long time. Remember Driver 3, the GTA before GTA was a thing? Or at least the first Driver was kind of the GTA before GTA was a thing. Driver 3 3, as much as I loved that game as a kid, probably, didn't compare to Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, or San Andreas, which are released around the same time. But Driver 3 did do a promotion for Nokia phones, which if that doesn't take you back to feeling like you're in 2004, I don't know what will. Now, interestingly enough, Nintendo didn't really have a reputation of doing too many brand crossovers in-game. It has happened from time to time. One of those being Mario Kart 8. I don't know what it was. Maybe this was because it was during the time where Nintendo wasn't doing too well financially after the release of the Wii U. I mean, finances weren't the best at Nintendo. It was very notorious that the Wii U and the 3DS were both struggling at the time. The 3DS kind of pulled ahead and turned things around, but the Wii U wasn't doing so hot. Long story short, Mercedes-Benz does a crossover DLC for Mario Kart 8. I mean, this one's fine, I guess. There are different Mercedes branded vehicles in Mario Kart 8, so that was neat, I guess. I don't think it was really the DLC that everybody wanted to happen. I think more people probably wanted different characters, maybe new stages. That would have been fine also, but the Mercedes crossover, I just remember it being like a weird era under Nintendo, because Nintendo typically didn't do like brand crossovers. Not saying they don't ever do it, because I remember in Animal Crossing New Leaf, another 3DS game from this era, they did a whole 7-Eleven crossover exclusively in Japan. There was 7-Eleven branded items and a villager that was a horse that was branded as like a 7-Eleven clerk. Animal Crossing's wild. Don't get me started. And then similarly, I know we talked a little bit about batteries in Alan Wake, but that whole Energizer arc wasn't the first time batteries have had a brand deal sponsorship. Maybe Energizer was really just trying to catch up, because Nintendo did it one other time with Pikmin 2, but they worked with Duracell, and they had D batteries in the game that were originally in the game called Courage Reactors. They're just D batteries. It gets a little more interesting though. In Japan, they actually didn't do the Duracell partnership. They instead partnered up with a different company known as National High Top Batteries. It's a Japanese brand of battery. But then it gets weirder, because Pikmin 2 was re-released on the Wii. They did this whole thing where like GameCube games were like updated for the Wii or whatever, and they actually reverted the Japanese National High Top brand battery to the Duracell battery. But then when Pikmin 2 came to the Nintendo Switch, they changed it again, this time opting to just retexture the battery to be a generic battery brand, not a real battery. I actually really like the Duracell one. I don't know, sometimes when you see things from the real world, even if it is a brand, but it's a brand that you're so used to seeing, it's kind of cool when it shows up in something like this. So sometimes it's a little weird depending on the implementation, but I'm not going to say the Duracell battery in Pikmin 2 ruins the Pikmin 2 experience. Now, there also was a time period where limited time advertising campaigns would show up in video games. This was pretty uncommon originally, but then started to be kind of tested out in the late 2000s. For instance, we found this screenshot from when they did it with Netflix in Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2 had this big Netflix poster that was there for a little while, but it's obviously not in the game now. There were other games out there that did interesting things. During Barack Obama's presidential run, apparently it was controversial back then because this was like one of the first serious presidential candidates to run video game ads with EA. Now, the story goes that this was like only in a few games. However, I found an article that suggests that ads are being delivered through 18 different games beyond just EA, actually, like a ton of companies. And they were targeting audiences from swing states specifically. So it had to maybe geographically depend on where you were to get the update that would roll out the Obama ad for you. I mean, it definitely existed. Like, these ads were in games. However, there isn't a lot of documentation as to every single version of it in every single game. But this was a thing that happened. So maybe if you were playing NFL Tour or NASCAR 09, apparently it was in Guitar Hero 3 even, and The Incredible Hulk. Okay. Does anybody in the comment section actually remember seeing these though? Like, personally, let me know. Also, while we're on the topic of Madden, Obama shows up in one of the Madden games. I don't know. He's just chilling as the president. Why not, right? They did the whole promotion with him, put him in the game as a character the year later. Who cares? I'm not complaining. Why don't we see like Joe Biden or Donald Trump show up in Madden? It'd just be weird. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know if this next one really counts, but in Mercenaries 2, Barack Obama and vice president candidate during the 2008 presidential election, Sarah Palin, were both playable characters. I don't know. This is wild. Just watching this gameplay of Obama and Palin is just something quite different. Mercenaries 2 World in Flames, kind of a forgotten game. The Mercenaries series in general. I remember they did some really weird stuff to try to promote that game, at least the first one, I think. Nonetheless, this is This is incredible. In more recent years, Call of Duty's been engaging in, some brand stuff in-game. I mean, we've seen Mountain Dew pop up in Black Ops a few times now. I do have to say, it was a little interesting playing through the campaign of Black Ops 6 and just finding a full-on Little Caesars pizza. I mean, they have done Call of Duty crossovers with Little Caesars for a while. I didn't expect to see a full-on restaurant in the game. I guess that's world building. They've done other crossovers. Doritos has gotten some branding in there as well. But I find it interesting because, Call of Duty is this world where they have restaurants and other brands that are parodies of real-life brands, like the whole Burger King parody that they have. But then there's just a real Little Caesars here. It's an interesting world. Call of Duty's definitely been embracing brand crossovers more and more, especially when it comes to cosmetics. I guess that makes sense. I mean, they can make a ton of money with cosmetics, so why not? But yeah, we're seeing events to promote shows like the whole Squid Game event that never worked properly for me. But this isn't anything that's necessarily new. This type of stuff has existed in games for a long time. I mean, there were games like Pepsi Man. There were games like Coca-Cola Kid, where he plays a character named Cokie. I mean, Burger King had 3 games that came out that you could buy at Burger King. They actually did a whole video dedicated on adver games, which were advertisement video games, like entire games. But we're focusing more, obviously, on the crossovers that seem a little weird and wacky.
If you haven't watched our last video yet, it is a 3-hour banger video about Easter eggs and details in Rainbow Six Siege and other Rainbow Six games. Now, in that video, I talked about Rainbow Six Vegas, and I mentioned that there's this Easter egg where you can shoot this axe bottle, and there'll be this little blooper reel that will play. This blooper reel will be in-game development footage of the avatars or whatever, the character models doing some goofy stuff, like dancing or, just doing some funny stuff, I guess, and they called it the Axe blooper reel or whatever. It's sponsored by Axe. You shoot the Axe bottle, the blooper reel pops up. But this was actually part of a larger promotion with Axe body spray at the time. All the levels that were on the Las Vegas Strip had some sort of Axe body spray advertisement plastered all over it. And this was at the time where Axe did the whole thing, you put on that body spray, all the chicks are gonna love you. So all these advertisements had a model in a crop top or something like that, just standing next to the Axe bottle. That was just how, advertisement in 2006 worked for men, I guess, or for young men and teenagers. Also, the slogan for this was "Change your odds. Axe." I guess the implication here overall is that if you put on Axe body spray, you smell good, you get more video game skills, and you get this hot model. I don't know. At the time, it was already kind of debated online whether this was cool or not. I mean, not because of the content of the ads, more because of the inclusion of real-world ads in a video game. In 2006, this wasn't as common. And I mean, looking back at it, it is very much just an advertisement. It's not even a character just puts on some Axe body spray in the background. It is just billboards mostly. Though, I mean, the little Easter egg they did with the blooper reel, that wasn't that bad. That was actually kind of cool. I mean, this is just kind of a forgotten thing, this cheesy deodorant ad that was in Vegas too. And this wasn't the only thing that they did with Rainbow Six Vegas and some weird ads. So after the first Rainbow Six Vegas came out in 2006, 2 years later in 2008, Rainbow Six Vegas 2 released. Now, this did not feature any more Axe ads as far as I am aware. There was this Comcast promotion and even a secret Comcast level, which that is kind of a crazy crossover that you have to type in a code and that will unlock a multiplayer level given to you by the craze of Comcast, I guess. But besides that, there was apparently this technology in the game where they could update the ads of some of the billboards through updates or something. And in 2012, Wiz Khalifa actually utilized this for his 2050 tour. All of a sudden, starting on September 7th, 2012, advertisements for Wiz Khalifa's upcoming tour would just pop up in Rainbow Six Vegas 2 and would be all over the place. Apparently, this would only show up in areas that he would actually visit during his tour, which was mostly just the US. And this actually ran for 2 months, and then in December, after the tour ended, it disappeared and was patched out of the game, I guess. But these posters and advertisements for Wiz Khalifa's 2050 tour would also be shown in other games. All of them actually just sports games from around the time, like the baseball game, the basketball game, and the racing game. I had a hard time which versions of these sports there were, which NBA or MLB or Formula 1 games these specifically were. But I mean, hey, here they are, and you can see that the Wiz Khalifa tour popped up here as well, and that was a pretty crazy thing at the time.
Okay, there was no way we're gonna make this video without at least mentioning Roblox. I know when it comes to games that have evolved into social platforms, Fortnite gets talked about a lot. I'm sure GTA 6 in the future, when it has the new online stuff, will get talked about a lot. But Roblox has been doing stuff for a long time because Roblox has just opened the gates to take on a ton of different just straight up advertising on their platform. And there's a lot of things out there. I mean, mean, I'm pretty sure they did real crossovers with like brands you would never expect to see a video game crossover. I mean, Walmart has their own world in Roblox, and they were testing features to see if they would even let people order things through Roblox to buy, I guess. There's surprisingly a lot of clothing brands and makeup brands that have crossed over with Roblox. Sanrio did a whole Hello Kitty experience on there, and we're honestly scratching the surface. If you just like look at the list of things that have popped up over the years, it's incredible. Like, why not play the Ralph Lauren Winter Escape? You know, Crocs, those rubber shoes with the holes in it, they were kind of like a meme for a while and then became like a mainstay staple of footwear. They have a Roblox world. Stranger Things, Gucci, H&M. I mean, this stuff is how you reach Generation Z and Gen Alpha, right? I mean, Forever 21 even used virtual item performance data to guide physical product development decisions, so probably is working out well for them. I think IKEA used Roblox to try to find employees. They launched like a virtual store and players could apply for like real jobs to get real interviews. This is weird. Yeah, there's no way we're skipping a Roblox section in this video. I mean, we got to look at our roots. So we talked a little bit already about Alan Wake and how they had the Energizer crossover, which was pretty insane. But Alan Wake did have Verizon throw some money their way because there's Verizon billboard in this game. That's it. That's the product placement.
And here we are. We both have Verizon phones. It worked.
That is true. Yeah, damn. They got us.
Final Fantasy as a franchise is pretty notorious for like crazy brand crossovers, brand promotions. Like for Final Fantasy 13 Part 2, they did a whole thing where she was a model for Louis Vuitton and she did like in-character interviews where she was talking about like, you know, I always thought of clothes like armor, but now I know fashion is a way to express myself. It was like pretty bizarre. They also had Final Fantasy characters model for Brother, and it's kind of jarring seeing like these 3D models trying to model like real life clothes. But I guess they did a bunch of those, and in 2017 they even gave away Final Fantasy 14 for free if you ordered pizza at Domino's in Australia. They're no stranger to brand promotions, but they had a pretty big controversy in 2021 when at the Game Awards it was announced that if you order during the Game Awards on Grubhub for $15 or more and enter the code Endwalker, which was the upcoming Final Fantasy XIV DLC, you would get an exclusive emote where your character would eat some pizza, right? I think there is a clip of Jeff Niley saying, yeah, code Endwalker, pizza, blah, blah, blah. If I find it, I'll play it right here.
Order Grubhub using the code Endwalker during the show to get free delivery on all orders of $15 or more and an exclusive Final Fantasy XIV Eat Pizza emote for the game. I know you get some dinner.
This was US only, which already, you know, is probably pretty disappointing because, I mean, Game Awards probably have a lot of international viewers. But even for people in the US, they did not receive the codes.
All of that, and they didn't even get the codes?
Well, some people got the codes, and there was apparently only like 20,000 codes, but they didn't really clarify that. So a ton of people ordered Grubhub and then were angry, messaged the support, and the support didn't even know what was going on either. They were like, you have to order again, or, you know, the codes are random. You know, there was like conflicting answers by the support. It was crazy that this was like so rare, and then people started selling it on eBay for like $200. Like people started buying this emote for $200. Now, Square Enix never said anything until like 2 years later when they released the emote for $7 on their store, like in Final Fantasy XIV. You could just buy it. So, I don't know. Pretty weird, like, debacle and pretty big trauma at the time.
Have you ever used Grubhub?
Yeah, once or twice. Honestly, that one ad really scared me. And
I was about to say the same thing. The one where they're, like, dancing or something. I was gonna be like, I just never wanted to order Grubhub after seeing that commercial with, like, this animated objects.
Yeah, and the lady sipping the straw.
Isn't there, like, a crazy theory that this is, like, from the Jimmy Neutron universe, too?
I don't know. That's
Dude, I could have swore I saw like a game theory video or a food theory video about
what the hell are they doing over there, dude? What?
I don't know, dude. I just like I think it was like back when MatPat was doing it. Dude, Grubhub, dude, those commercials. Now, on the topic of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Adventure 1 for the Dreamcast is actually a little bit different. Now, this is kind of in the earliest days of DLC, but the Dreamcast was paving the way when it came to doing DLC type content in the form of sponsorships, I guess. There was a Reebok branded crossover with Sonic Adventure 1. Essentially, it was like a challenge mode that was added in via the internet, and it was to promote Reebok shoes. Now, the challenge was interesting. It was only available in Europe, and you had to pretty much run through these courses. There were Reebok shoes in the courses that you could go and collect, and I think there was like a challenge associated with it where if you ended up winning, you could actually win like this prize from Reebok. I was a little disappointed we didn't get to see Sonic actually wearing the Reebok shoes. I feel like that would have been interesting. It would have been one of the earliest forms of cosmetics, but I guess not. Sonic Adventure 2, on the other hand, which would come out a little bit later on in the Sega Dreamcast life though, did also do some product placement. For instance, Sonic Adventure 2 had the soap shoes. It was a brand of shoes where, I don't know, what could you do with soap shoes? I think you're supposed to be able to grind on them, and Sonic grinds, so it was like the perfect crossover. It was added kind of later on in development. A lot of the early promotional material for Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic's just wearing his regular shoes, but later on he had those abominations on his feet, and that was the promotion. I really do wonder if somewhere in Soap headquarters they have the numbers on how much money they generated directly from Sonic Adventure 2's involvement. I feel like it couldn't have been that much. They definitely paid for the product placement. We haven't seen Mario wearing soap shoes, so what does that tell you?
That Mario doesn't like to grind.
Dude, Mario grinds. Now, you would think Sonic's in the clear after the Hooters debacle, after the soap shoes debacle, but no, Sonic did have one more crossover with NASCAR, of all things. What was the name of the game? Okay, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is such a crazy name of a game. I've been saying this for years with that game.
Yeah, wait, why is it the end?
Why can't they just call it Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed? There's already so many syllables in this name, but Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, I hate the fact that there's an and. And then they didn't even put the word and. They used the ampersand. Ampersand?
Ampersand.
Nonetheless, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed did a crossover to promote some NASCAR, and they wanted to do a crossover, so they threw Danica Patrick into this Sonic racing game. Crazy times.
You know, we should go to a NASCAR race. I always wanted to be in like the middle with an RV or something.
I'm always worried about being in like the splash zone.
Only because you watch like Final Destination 4 or whatever.
Is that not how all NASCAR races are?
There is a couple things that Gears of War did. One that I find pretty interesting, and that is for Gears of War Judgment, which was like that spin-off Gears of War game that, I don't know, a lot of people played.
It came out after the trilogy of Gears of War was done, right? And they want to do like a separate story with a different development studio, I think.
Yeah, and like a different main character. I remember seeing that game for like $2 at GameStop like a year later, so it wasn't very successful, I think. That's my interpretation.
I think some people liked it. I've heard people who really like this game, and I've heard people who hate the game. I don't think it's like a bad game.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as maybe the newest one, but hey, I mean...
I'm sorry. Can I just say something real quick? I'm pretty sure you just triggered a bunch of all like 10 Gears of War 5 fans who just heard you say that it's not as bad as the last one.
Boring.
We just lost at least 5 subscribers on the whole Gears of 5 communities turned on us.
But anyways, we shared a multiplayer like you expect from a Gears of War game, right? And this multiplayer had sponsored maps by a magazine called Maxim. Now, some people might not know what Maxim is. It is like a... what is like the word, like a gentleman's magazine?
Ones like at 7-Eleven that are in the wrapper, so you like have to
buy it to look at the pictures. Yeah,
I guess I wouldn't know. I've never bought a magazine.
Okay. I mean,
actually, real quick, who actually is buying those magazines though?
Do they still publish those? I wonder. I didn't look it up, but Playboy doesn't get published anymore, right?
I have no idea. They were in Mafia 2. Does that count as a product placement?
Maxim or Playboy?
No, Playboy.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah.
They were like the collectible. Okay, there's another one. But continue. Sorry, we're getting off track with Gears of War Judgment.
Maxim, out of all people, sponsored multiplayer content in Gears of War Judgment. Now, this wasn't like branded content, right? They just paid for Epic Games to release 2 free multiplayer maps and a multiplayer mode. And then, you know, the picture or whatever said powered by Maxim. Like, there was no Maxim content on the actual map. They just paid for content in Gears of War Judgment, which like makes me think someone at Maxim really liked Gears of War and just wanted like
some fresh content.
I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess.
Luke, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the notes that we have for this video.
Yeah.
Why does Gears of War Judgment say Oberto Beef Jerky? Is that related to the magazine, or is it just Gears of War has 2 points in this video?
There's 3 points for Gears of War, and we can get to the Oberto. Look,
one in the same. Like, I was like, what is this beef jerky? Like, I see the notes, they talk about beef jerky and Gears of War, and we are not not talking about that. We are talking about something
Right,
completely
so
different.
let's go about another Gears of War Judgment promotion they did, which was for Oberto beef jerky, which I've never heard of.
You've never heard of Alberto beef jerky?
No, do they sell that at the store?
Yeah, it's like probably one of the most common beef jerky brands, or at least like up there in the top 3.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've seen the new package. I just didn't recognize the old logo that I saw with the Gears of War promotion. So, okay, you could buy Oberto beef jerky and then get an exclusive skin for Gears of War for the character Tai, I believe.
Dude, I didn't realize that Oberto changed their logo, but man, that old logo, like I looked it up, that was cool. The whole oh boy Oberto logo, like that took me right back to like the mid 2000s. That's such a better logo than the new logo.
So many old logos that are way better than what we got today.
It's a shame.
This wasn't the only time though you could get some in-game items by buying some beef jerky. Slim Jim partnered with Dead Space 3 and EA to bring you 3 exclusive weapons with their Every Code Wins promotion, or whatever it was called at the time. You could get the Skewer, L1 Rapido, or the Broadbow Arc Cutter. All of these weapons were just like modified versions of already existing weapons, and they were Slim Jim colored, like red and yellow. The Slim Jim promotion actually extended to other EA games at the time too. Like you could unlock the Dodge Charger SRT8 for Need for Speed Most Wanted, and then there was like these 3 skins you could unlock in Medal of Honor Warfighter. And apparently later on they did like a voting thing for Battlefield 4 that let players vote for the reward they wanted from like the Slim Jim thing, and I guess players voted for the battle packs. So then you could redeem like a bunch of Slim Jim, and depending on how many codes you redeem, you would get a different battle pack, like a higher tier. Gears of War 3 also did a promotion, and this time it was with beef jerky, and it was not with a gentleman's magazine. It was for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, like the movie. The way this promotion worked, there was a timed like in-game mission called Impossible Mission, which was like complete the campaign on insane difficulty. It was actually pretty hard, and you had to finish it before the deadline, December 21st, and the game released in September. So you had about 3 months to beat the game on insane difficult in order to get 5 digital camouflage skins called the Ghost Protocol weapon set.
So you had from the beginning of the game all the way through like a week or 2 after the movie came out? Or did they start the event like after the game came out?
It doesn't say when they started it, actually.
Well, if anybody out there played this challenge specifically, as specific and obscure as it is nowadays, let us know in the comments, because I am curious. Was it a 3-month window? Did anybody grind it out just to get the Ghost Protocol skins in Gears of War 3? And what are you doing nowadays with those skins?
I want to talk a little bit about racing games. I have like a couple topics.
Let's hear it.
So the first one is for the 40th anniversary, I think, for the Porsche 911, or around that time. That's what the car is called, dude. Don't look like that, dude. You don't know cars, dude.
I was just listening to you.
Porsche 911, dude. I saw your expression, dude. That's what it's been called before.
Play it back. I had no expression.
Okay, here. This is the slow-mo version.
Stoic.
Here's the slow-mo version.
Okay.
They did a Need for Speed game that just had Porsche cars, and some of the Porsche models they released that year, if you bought the Porsche, it came with the game. I mean, there was other ways to get the game too. It's called the Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed or Need for Speed Porsche 2000s, depending on which continent you live on. But this was a game that just had Porsche cars. Just Porsche, just a big old Porsche promotion. You know, just here, play this game, buy our Porsche.
Adver game. In our Adver games video, did we ever talk about the Razor scooter game? I don't remember if we talked about it or forgot to bring it up in the video.
I don't think so, but I guess, yeah, that was a whole thing. Just promote those scooters.
It was like fully published, I think, by Razor Scooter. It was definitely to promote Razor Scooter. I don't know. I mean, it's not a branded content thing, but you get what I mean. But it just brings me to kind of a similar thing with the Porsche thing, right? Like it's a game pretty much dedicated just for promoting something more than just like a brand tie-in.
You remember Need for Speed 15? They had like the acted cutscene, like real life actors in between like the gameplay. Do you remember that?
I haven't played too many Need for Speed games. Is it like a live action
Right,
movie?
it's just like, yeah. And like between the races and stuff, you just see like these live actions. And in those live action cutscenes, they would keep drinking Monster Energy. It was featured heavily Monster Energy. And I remember people complaining about how much Monster Energy there was in these cutscenes. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. And yeah, I don't know. It's also another Need for Speed
It's like
thing.
the UFC fights where they have to hold up the monster.
Right,
Energy.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
getting-
Exactly.
Same thing. Just have the actors holding Monster Energy. Why not?
Did you know that for Mass Effect 2, there was some Dr. Pepper and 7-Eleven exclusive codes that would give you skins in the game? Like you buy a big gulp, it comes with a code, or you buy a 20-ounce Dr. Pepper, it comes with a code, and then you get these Mass Effect like skins, or could earn them by purchasing like a bunch of products. I don't know.
Wasn't there something similar to that in Call of Duty a couple of years ago? Oh, the Burger King skin? Was it a Burger Town? You had to go to Burger King to get the Burger Town skin. Wasn't there a Monster Energy one though that we were trying to get? Was it for Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 6? And I was trying to put my Monster Energy codes in, and it was like denying every Amazon order that I had. Like, it's like, this has been a real receipt, and I just gave up.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I think it was Monster, because I think, unless I was just trying to get double XP, but I'm pretty sure there was like a Monster Energy skin in Black Ops 6 maybe, because it was back at the beginning of the game before the store like fully starts to roll out all the crazy cosmetics. So there's not as many cool cosmetics, and there was a Monster Energy one I think that we wanted, and neither of us could figure out how to get. You guys remember the game Homefront? It was a game that was around for a while, and then they wanted to make a sequel, but the sequel wasn't supposed to do anything with the first Homefront. It was a whole confusing mess. They take place in like a different universe. Nothing super important, but there was like a little crossover in the first Homefront, I guess, for White Castle, where they just have a White Castle in the game, just as a location. You just go on through it. I don't know if it makes you hungry after playing it or how that works, but it's there. I haven't actually gotten to see the clip of it. I just have it in the notes. I don't want to pull it up though. The uploader uploaded in 360p. There's nothing I can do about this.
Minute 36, 37?
I was like having to squint just to see it. Do like 120.
Yeah, I'll do 120. Yeah, 118. That's good.
I don't know if I played this game.
I definitely played the first one, but not the second one. Oh, I see it. Right there. White Castle, holy. So while we're on the topic of like real life restaurants and video games, right? We did a video about like promotions with video games, and we talked about like the Subway stuff that they did with Uncharted. That wasn't the only Subway thing PlayStation did. You can actually find a Subway in the PlayStation Move Heroes game as well, which I didn't know until I did research for this video. So there's another Subway in a PlayStation game.
It's in the game though, because I don't think the Uncharted one was in the game. I think
it was
just used Uncharted for the commercials.
Right, they did, and it was in the other game where you are the superhero and it's like dark and gritty. What was that called? Infamous.
Oh, okay.
Infamous 2 had the Subway in game. Sorry, I stand corrected.
Shoot.
But besides those two PlayStation related things, also Subway was in PlayStation Move Heroes, as you can see right here. There's like just a Subway in this like game. Did you ever play Spider-Man 2? I know you played the first one.
I played the first one, a little bit of Miles Morales.
Can I spoil something about the ending for Spider-Man 2? So,
spoiler alert.
Not quite a big spoiler, but the way I understand is that at the end of Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales reveals a new suit. This is the new suit. This suit is a Adidas suit that they actually sell, including the shoes as well. So the full suit is just like a promotion for a Adidas suit.
And Adidas sells this full Spider-Man suit?
I mean, it's like pants, and it's not like a full suit like a Spider-Man suit, right? But it's not a onesie. It's like pants, shoes, and it's like a 3-piece. But people were pretty upset because I guess they didn't like this design, and they didn't like that this is a weird like marketing crossover. And I just saw a bunch of people like complaining about it.
It is interesting how many like clothing crossover brandings there are out there. I mean, Spider-Man here, any EA game ever. Usually has something. I mean, doesn't Rainbow Six Siege even have it with Frost? Her hat is like Under Armour brand. So I know there's like 1 or 2 Under Armour clothes, 2 at least. I don't know what the second one is, but I know there's 2 from our 3-hour video. I remember reading through it. The few times that just like clothing brands show up in games, it can be kind of interesting.
And now, I mean, Fortnite got all those shoes, right? The Jordans, all that stuff. And I mean, in the sports games, all the sports stuff is like Adidas, Nike.
Wait, what'd you call that one?
Nike.
I thought I heard you say Nike.
Why would I say Nike, dude? You tripping. Okay. I don't even know how to pronounce this, so you can bear with me, okay?
I'll correct you every time.
Okay, if you can correct me on this, Elijah, I'll pay you $20 if you like.
All right,
actually know what it is, okay?
Okay. Do I have to know what it is or how to pronounce it?
I mean, I think in order to pronounce it, you might have to know what it is.
All right. I probably know what it is. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Okay. Do you know what a Jules Sous vide cooker is?
A what?
Okay, there we go.
Wait, say it again?
A Jules Sous vide cooker.
Can you send me like the words? Can you use it in a sentence?
No.
What if you're pronouncing it so badly I would never be able to know? You have to at least give me the opportunity.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Is it French? Where's Dim? He speaks French. Hold on, can we call Dim real quick?
Dim. Do you know how to pronounce this word that I'm about to send you?
Okay. Julie suis de...
Well, there you have it.
We called our French Canadian what do you call it? Like international reporter.
Agent in the field.
Agent or field agent. Yeah. I like that.
Dim, what is that? What does that translate to?
I have no idea.
How long did you take French in school?
6 to 8 years.
You studied French for 6 to 8 years? Do you remember any of it?
Comment ça va? Ça va bien?
All right, Dim.
Okay.
Como estes?
Como estes? Honda la esta biblioteca. Or something.
Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, that's it, Luke. You got it right.
All right, let me explain what this is. The English word cooker, so it's something with cooking, and it's like this like water heater that heats the water a specific way, and then you can cook like a professional chef or something. It's like $250. I don't know. It's like a stick you put in the water. You guys want to guess which game did an emote that promoted or was exclusive with this like Jules Sous Vide cooker?
Can you give me a hint? What game would do it? Like, is it Cooking Mama? I don't think
it's not a cooking game. It's a game you would never guess and never expect.
What console? Is it on?
I mean, it was on PC first, and then it came out to PS3 and Xbox 360. But I don't think the emote is on the console versions.
What year did the game release in?
2007, but the emote released in 2016.
A game from 2007 that still was getting updates in 2016? That's crazy.
There isn't many, so maybe you can narrow it down.
Team Fortress 2?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, maybe before we started, you're like, oh, there's this crazy Team Fortress 2 thing.
But so what they did is they just repurposed a emote that already existed where the heavy is like cooking on this table, and now there's a slightly different pot, and it has that cooker thing in the pot.
Why, though?
It's because Gabe Newell is a co-founder of the company that makes this cooker.
I guess that makes sense.
Oh, he's not a co-founder? Sorry, I said the wrong one. He's a co-founder.
Still.
Who plays Team Fortress 2 and thinks to himself, I want to buy this fancy, like, French cooking item and gonna boil my shrimp, like, the perfect temperature. Like, what?
Maybe you're like a kitchen engineer.
You're right. I guess if you're a professional chef and a Team Fortress 2 gamer...
Do you have a Guitar Hero section?
It's just... I don't know if it really counts. I don't think it was Axe Body Spray. I think I copied it, or maybe it mixed two lines. It was like... Would you consider the band Kiss a brand?
No, because they're a band first.
Because they released a Gene Simmons exclusive Axe guitar for Guitar Hero. Oh, it's for Rock Band, not for Guitar Hero.
Oh, dude, you're a fake fan.
Wait, when was I a fan, dude? I bought Guitar Hero 2, and on the way to the car, my mama was like, I don't want this. Take this back. And then I never played Guitar Hero. That's it.
That's sad, dude.
I don't know, dude.
You didn't live. You didn't really live, dude, unless you were in the trenches playing Freebird in Guitar Hero 2, Through the Fire and Flames in Guitar Hero 3. I stopped playing after Guitar Hero 3. I switched to Guitar Center. You know the store?
Right.
Guitar Center?
Yeah.
You go there, buy guitars, but they also have like keyboards and other things. They did a Guitar Center crossover sponsorship where in the game the logo would show up, and I think we have a pretty good list here. So if you enjoyed this video and you think we earned your subscription, maybe subscribe. Also, huge thank you to our patrons and YouTube members for making this type of video possible. If you want to see more content like this, the YouTube algorithm will recommend you something on your screen. You can just click on it, or just like remember Rocket Sloth, they make good videos. The next time you see us in your recommended, maybe watch it. Cool. All right, we'll see you guys next time with a new video.